My name's David Nevarez. I was born in Dallas, Texas, in 1965. I enlisted in the Marine Corps in September of '82. I went into the late entry program, and I went to boot camp around September 7th, 1983. I was discharged from the Marine Corps July 9th, 1991, immediately after Desert Storm. I was serving at the time with 5th Marines, 1st Marine Division. Well, I come from a family of 9. I was born in Dallas. We was there until '79. My parents, my mom and dad were both functionally illiterate. My dad was a plumber. He was a World War II vet. He was a bona fide cowboy. He spent some times on the King's Ranch, from what I understand, and taught me the trade when I was 8 years old. My mom, took care of 9 of us. I'm number 8 of 9, 6 brothers, 6 sisters, three brothers. Um, she did it all. She took care of the house. She took care of us. She took care of other people's clothing. She did the ironing, washing, whatever needed to be done to just earn a little bit of extra money. Whenever school was out, we suddenly became the gypsies of Texas, I would call. I think about, because we would go pick cotton, whatever fruit was growing in South Texas or far West Texas. We'd run around the cotton fields, cutting weeds down so the tractors can come in and harvest. Um, my mom's day would start at like 4:30 in the morning. She'd pound out fresh homemade tortillas 3 times a day, at least 4 dozen, just to feed us. So I'm a little bit spoiled in that aspect. My dad is a very, very hard worker. The times that I had to work with him, or we'd get up at 5:30, be out the door by 6, and be on the job around 7:30, and work till about 6. I worked with my dad until I was 17. By the time I was 17, I was a lead man at Victoria Plumbing Company in Victoria, Texas. I had about 6 people under me, and they were all older than me. It was me, my dad, my uncle, and my cousin that worked at that company. And I didn't receive any preferential treatment. I right then and there, I had to teach these, tell these older folks how to, get the job done. So I was immediately placed in a leadership position, and I think being in the Marine Corps just solidified that. It made me a leader, a motivator, someone to that got things done. My job as a Marine was logistics. That is, taking the Marine and the equipment that they need, any piece of equipment they need, move it around to where they were at.
So why did you choose to enlist?
It's a funny story. I come from a long line of soldiers. From my grandfather, my great grandfather Salas on my mom's side was in World War One, and my dad was a World War II vet. My brother is a Vietnam era vet. He just missed going to Vietnam by one number. I was in Texas. I seen what the Army is doing. Well, I seen what the Army did, and I really didn't want to stay in Germany or Texas. I wanted to see the world, and I wanted to and not go just as, oh my God, I'm in the military. I went in as with a very open mind, and thoroughly enjoyed myself. The way I was recruited was kind of funny, because at the time at the time I met my recruiter, I was 2 steps into the Navy recruiter's office, and the Navy recruiter wasn't there. So that's where I got hooked into the Corps. And I did it, and I haven't looked back since.
How old were you?
I was 17. I seen the economy in Victoria was kind of in a slump. Halliburton was the company buying the houses and keeping the economy stable. The work started drying up. Construction is a very, when it's when it's banging, it's banging. And when it slows down, it slows down. 10-hour, 12-hour paychecks a week just wasn't cutting it. And I blew my scholarship for in high school, so I decided, well, let's go in the Corps and see what I can do. And my ASVAB was fair, so I went in a guaranteed contract, logistics. And during my time there, I excelled. I was put in a very responsible position at a very early age. I worked at after boot camp. I was sent to Little Creek, Virginia for my training, my school. Then from there, I went to Edson Range, California, which is a part of Marine Corps Recruit Depot. So I'm almost at my 19th birthday. I'm in charge of a platoon of recruits because during their training cycle, there was a week, a 7-day gap that the recruits were going to be on mess duty, which is working in a dining facility, or maintenance duty, which meant keeping up with the facilities, either at Edson Range or School of Infantry. So the platoon that stayed on Edson Range, I was in charge of. They had to maintain my lawns, sweep the sidewalks, whatever was needed, on top of me taking care of my rifle ranges. I had 4 rifle ranges I was responsible for that the recruits were firing on for their qualifications. I made sure that the communications were up, they had enough ammo. Maintaining a pistol range. At that time, recruits were familiarizing themselves with the 45. And after, I think, a few incidents there, they decided to phase it out. The only way that E3 or below could carry a pistol, or E5 and below could carry a pistol if they were on a crew-served weapon, a cannon, a tank, an LIV or striker vehicle, as the Army calls it, or that type of equipment.
So when did you go to Korea?
Well, I went to Korea the first time in 1984. That was during my first tour in Okinawa. I was part of 3rd Force Service Support Group. I worked at the headquarters element, G4, which is the General's Command. And I was filling in a Master Sergeant's billet, an E9's billet, as an E3. I was kind of selected, I would say, because of me accepting the workload and so on. I really liked what I was doing. People recognized, certain people in the command recognized my devotion. I spent a lot of my nights writing up operation orders for Team Spirit 84. It was a joint exercise with the Korean Marines. We landed, where did we go? We landed in Pohang, Korea. It was a fly-in. I flew in a C-141 the first time from Japan to Korea. And I think my second or third day there, we had to strike our tent. Made sure we had a diesel stove. There's a potbelly stove, and the gas can would be, the 55 drums would be between the 2 tents. And I got my first taste of that Manchurian wind. It went from 40 degrees to 40 below in less than 30 minutes. And I got a very good understanding of what 1st Marines and 1st Marine Division went through when they were surrounded at the Chosin. That's the kind of cold that stays with you for a lifetime. To this day, on a hot day, I would remember that, and I'd get goosebumps. It could be 105 here, and I just remember just how exactly cold I was, and it would give me goosebumps. My primary objective as a combat support specialist was to support that Marine in the field, to support whatever unit we had to support with food, whatever. whatever they needed. I got to know some of the Korean Marines, which is a very, very extremely disciplined group of military people. And you have to remember, they're just a piece of paper holding the two countries together, apart. Uh, if one side decides to blink, if North Korea decides to overrun the border, easily within 2 days they'll be all the way down to into South Korea. I didn't realize it all came into perspective to me. When one night I was out on Liberty, grabbing a beer, getting a bath, having my boots shined, the uniform pressed, grabbing me something to eat, and I was coming back one night, and the Korean guard let the bolt come home on his rifle, and it made that loud crack, and I was like, "Whoa, wait a minute!" My hair stood up. I had no weapon. What am I going to do if North Korea decides to rattle the saber and I have no way to defend myself? It became very real, very quick for me and the group of guys I was with. So from that point on, I was more, I guess, more observant of things that were going around me. I would say, yeah, that's what I would say.
So you were based in Japan, and then you moved to be based in Korea?
It was temporary assignment. I've been to Korea twice in Team Spirit 84 and Team Spirit 88. The second time was with Third Landing Support Group. I was part of the Beach and Port Company. I was again stationed in Okinawa. I ran the flight line at Kundita Air Force Base for the Army, Navy, and Marine aircrafts that came in. I did unit deployments, loading and unloading 747s simultaneously, because infantry would come in for a 6-month rotation and they'd fly out, and then we had to receive the guys coming in, preparing 9 pallets of sea bags and whatever, throwing it in the plane and getting them going. I loaded out VMA 214, the Black Sheep that got the TV show. I loaded them out under Typhoon Condition 1E, loading out their stuff and getting them off the island before the typhoon struck. Those are the type of things I did. When I was chosen to go to Korea in '88, I pretty much did the same thing. I had to do a tactical offload of the USS Jupiter. That evolution was about an 18-hour period, more or less. They came out with a tactical load, or when I say tactical load, they come out in a sequence that you would use for war. Your high priority stuff would come off first, and low priority would come out last. And that's pretty much the gist of what I did, and again, I seen, the thing that really sticks out the most to me in Korea is the discipline of the ROK Marine, the generosity of the civilians out there. I spent time going to orphanages when I wasn't doing anything. I'd go on orphanages. I'd go to orphanage trips, and I'd carry, big pocketfuls of candy, stuffed animals for the kids, and I really enjoyed my time there. I tried some really diverse foods. I got to know some really sharp people. A Korean Marine First Sergeant befriended me on my second trip there, and pretty much invited me into his home, and we had a nice formal dinner, a 6-course meal. It was great. It was wonderful. It was an experience that I am hitting 50, and I still haven't forgotten it. The South Korean people are very, a very hardy bunch. It reminds me a lot of my Hispanic roots, community, family, and service. I can't say enough about the Koreans, and enjoying my time there.
So what was going on within the country politically or society? What kind of transitions were happening during the time that you were serving?
I really wasn't paying attention to the political side. My initial focus was on my job, and you pretty much take it as it comes. There was a guideline should anything happen. We'd automatically become an offensive force and protect the base that we were stationed off of. And, and that was about it. We'd be the force that held the line.
So what did you do after your time serving in Korea?
After my time in Korea, I went back to California. Oh, in Korea, I went back to which different time? I was there twice. I went just back to my regular duties as I was reattached to my unit, FSSG, ran the Service Support Group headquarters. I was responsible for 5 battalions. In a battalion, there's about 3,000 Marines per battalion. So I was responsible for all that stuff. And again, I was in a very young age in a very high responsible position. And I lived up to it. It was demanding. My day would start at 4:30, and sometimes it would end at about 6 or 7 at night, depending on the needs depending on what was going on at the time. I ran the unclassified message board. I ran the classified message board for my section, and I pretty much had my finger on the pulse of everything that was going on at the time.
What kind of life lesson do you feel like you've learned through your military service?
Life lesson. It's an experience that made me more aware of what's going on with my life, more situationally aware. It enhanced every bit of whatever leadership ability I've ever wanted, just because I was put in positions in an early age with the right kind of supervision to make me a better leader, a better motivator. When I was working, I went back to work as a plumber. Within 3 months of getting into Colorado Springs, going back to work as a plumber, within 3 months of me being there, I was getting called by some heavy hitters in the industry wanting me to work for them. And I owe that to not only what my dad taught me, but what the Marine Corps taught me as well. It gave me that. It just gave me that discipline to keep pushing.